we are talking about the incredibly deep and scary movie Paranormal Sex Tape. This one is written and directed by Dick Van Dark and stars Amber West. Now the story involves this woman as she travels to a new city and she hooks up with maybe a couple of guys. She's obviously quite liberal in her attitude. She's out trying to score drugs and she seems to be pursued by this Freddy Krueger-like boogeyman with kind of like long fingernails and a kind of like a dark hoodie. And she kind of is constantly trying to videotape herself having sex and stuff, and really is just kind of pursued by this kind of entity. And that's it. See ya! Okay, so yeah, that really is the plot. So in case you couldn't tell, I was somewhat sarcastic in the opening there. So let's discuss Paranormal Sex Tape. So Amber West, the only credit I could find for her was a legitimate porn film, Fake Taxi. And here she is in what I can only assume is a porn film which has been edited to make a somewhat legitimate film. There's virtually no plot in this one, but can we talk about anything that is positive first of all in this film? I've got to say, the idea of capturing some type of paranormal entity whilst making a sex tape is actually quite interesting, although it has been done before. There's actually a movie called Sex Tape, which I did actually review on the channel, but the actual video got taken down, one of the few that did. So you can't actually view that one anymore. I remember it being quite good. It's been a while. Probably this one will get taken down as well. There you go. So the idea I don't think is without merit. You know, it's an interesting way to kind of maybe capture something when passions are high and all that kind of stuff. But the interesting idea, that is it. That's really all I can kind of say in this film, to be honest, because there's virtually nothing to it. So where to start? So just a look at the film, the kind of the technical aspects here is so amateurish. I mean, they're just, I mean, I could just go on and on about this film, but just the kind of, every scene is just like a very kind of short edits with a kind of a soft fade out. She'll get out of bed, soft fade out. She'll walk to the door, soft fade out. She'll open the door, quick shot, soft fade out. Things like that, unnecessary edits and things that just don't make sense and are purely done for, artistic license, so to speak. There is virtually no dialogue in this movie. There's probably about 10 lines of dialogue in the entire movie, which sound like they're ADR'd anyway. Even with such a minimal dialogue, I don't think the acting is is really all that good. I mean, it's hard to tell because there's so few lines that are spoke, but you'll see shots of Amber West's character and some guy just kind of walking along in the park and stuff. They just look uncomfortable and kind of awkward, like they're kind of trying to overact even if there's no dialogue. So even without any dialogue, the acting here, I've got to say, is on the kind of the ropey side. Now, there's virtually no plot. There's virtually no plot in this film. It's just, I mean, what we do have is simply incomprehensible. It just doesn't make any type of sense, unfortunately. Yes, in case you were wondering, you do get a fair amount of nudity here. I do wonder if this is an actual porn film that has just been kind of like edited to kind of seem like a more mainstream film. I mean, it's clearly both parties are naked in this film and stuff like that, but what we see on screen is never particularly gratuitous, I must say, but there's plenty of T&A. The cast is relatively small. Just the overuse of kind of visual effects here, making it kind of trippy and everything. Now, you'd think being called Paranormal Sex Tape, this would be a found footage tape, but it isn't. Although there are kind of scenes that just inexplicably appear like they are. So it just seems like to me that this is probably shot as a porn film, and then just kind of like, oh, do you know what? We can probably re-edit this and actually market it as a legitimate kind of horror film. The running time is very short, which kind of lends credence to that, to be quite honest. I mean, it's longer than the kind of the non-sex scenes in an actual porn, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's pretty much nothing to this. I mean, the actual entity itself like I said, you don't really get a particularly good look, and when we do see it, it's fairly unimpressive, I must say. But there's just nothing to this. I mean, it's just like somewhat of an interesting idea, which was done better in this movie, I've got to say. You know, it's just a bit of waste of an opportunity, to be quite honest with you. Made for probably a zero budget. I mean, next to zero budget here. So I'll give this movie a 2 out of 10, just because I think there is an idea, at least, that could have been kind of like somewhat kind of, you know, made a movie on, but it isn't. So it's just for the idea itself, I think, or that's as best as I can do. I am really scraping the barrel for this one. So there you go, Paranormal Sex Tape. Have you heard of it? Would you watch it? 2 out of 10 for me. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.